Welcome, guys, back to the Grateful Living podcast. Today, I'm thankful to have Daniel Gazzola with me. Dan is one of the men behind ZOLA, uh, basically the electronic music producer, well known for No Words, his latest single in 2020. Dan, thanks so much for being on.
Thanks, Arnav. Real quick, no words, not latest single, but most popular.
Okay.
I produced it a while ago. It's not really where I'm at in production right now, but grateful for all the plays and was really stoked about it when I made it. So
My
yeah,
bad, my
thanks.
bad.
Thanks. No. You don't have to apologize. Let me.
Yeah,
I just want to
yeah.
throw information out there. Why not? But yeah, thanks for having me, dude. I'm really excited. To be completely honest, I haven't watched this yet. I was going to, but I probably smoked and then forgot. So my bad.
No,
But I
you're
will. I
good. You're
will.
good. You're good. So set the scene for us, like for people that don't know you, where you grew up, your family situation, and what you were like as a kid.
Yeah, definitely. I was a little wild as a child. But so I grew up in Cambridge, Mass, which is kind of like right next to Boston, and went to the Cambridge public school system. I had a little sister, Allie, and then my mom and dad are Greg and Deneen. Music and art has sort of like always been in my family. My dad wanted to be a percussionist, and has ended up, he was in a couple bands, and now and then played in the military for a bit. Now is like a music program director at Roland Hayes School of Music in Boston. And my mom founded a like an architecture firm, and she's one of the principals there. But they're both, looking to retire when the time comes.
Cool.
And yeah, so I grew up when I was really little. My parents said I had to have one sort of kind of like artsy thing to explore. Like it didn't have to be like a serious thing. I ended up choosing piano because we had a stand-up piano in our house. So yeah, the first I started playing piano when I was 5 or 6, and then played till I was probably 18 or 19. So that was sort of like the music upbringing I had. I also had a pretty intense math upbringing. The way I describe it is I tell people I sort of got labeled as a math kid from a pretty early age. I don't, I mean, I was good at math. I always thought I was just a bright person. And that I think my parents got excited that I was doing well in math. And we did like a pi day contest. I memorized like a shit ton digits of pi, and I still have like 50 memorized now.
Yeah.
And just, so yeah, I got put on a bit of an accelerated math track. And I knew I didn't want to be like a concert pianist. And I thought that that's what going to school for music only meant. I didn't really know anything about electronic music until like freshman year at BC. And yeah, so I went to school for math. I went in as math and physics double major. I hated
That's great.
physics labs, so I dropped it after a couple months. And then I did comp sci for the second semester of freshman year. And I took a logic class in comp sci later. But I ended up coming out with a major in math and a minor in philosophy. Mostly because in philosophy, it felt like you could get A's for like logically disagreeing with people, and I'm always someone that kind of questions things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had fun. And then I had one really intense philosophy class where I was like, oh shit, uh, yeah, I can't major in this for sure.
Sounds good.
um,
So you mentioned you first got introduced to electronic music freshman year. Talk about that, and did you where did that take you?
yeah, so I got into electronic music, liking art, like kind of like early pop progressive house, or not early, but whatever year we were in. When was freshman year? Like 2013,
Yeah,
2014.
2013,
Yeah.
14.
So like, the cool progressive house chain smokers mashups type idea or remixes. What are Avicii, rest in peace,
Yeah.
really talented dude. That kind of like fun precursor to a lot of where, maybe not precursor, but definitely light, fluffy EDM. And as my tastes changed, I sort of started listening to all sorts of types of EDM. And then also the way I was raised, I've always listened to like country rap, rock, hip hop, like Latin jazz. I played a lot of piano, and then just like some jazz standards. I listened to a lot of classic because I grew up playing just like a lot of different stuff. I feel like when I get past the aux, people are always expecting some kind of like EDM banger to come on, and sometimes I just like, I don't know.
You like all music?
Yeah, I like all
Yeah,
music. I
yeah,
want to listen to Arcade Fire sometimes. Like I
yeah,
want to listen to fucking Travis. Yeah. So
yeah. Talk to me about, so when did you like, I mean, a lot of people love EDM, but you ended up, learning about the industry and uh, making some moves, and talk about that process of actually digging into
yeah,
to
I'd
the
say
industry.
I'm starting to get ready to think about making moves. I wouldn't say I'm making moves just yet.
Hey,
I
hey,
think my
start.
songs are getting some plays, which is really nice and I'm grateful for. But the end goal is solely supporting myself with this. And I still got a little ways to go for that. But I'm really excited about the path I'm on. I also didn't really talk about my intro into music production. So let me write down the question you just asked, because my head is a jumbly mess. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so I have to talk about it. Not have to. I want to talk about intro to EDM production, and then the thing you just asked, I will answer after that, which
Okay.
was what
Just,
was
I
it
mean,
though?
because obviously, I know that you opened up for Marshmello in 2017, but I
Mhm.
mean, there's a process to
Oh
getting
yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
point.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay,
yeah.
process. Okay. Oh yeah, it all sort of touches together. Okay, word, I can like it. I'm glad I wrote this down. I was grasping at straws. Okay, so I got into listening to electronic music. Yeah, like freshman year at BC. I have like a little bit of like a weird story where I didn't have like a piano in my dorm room freshman year, so I sort of like started to stop playing piano as frequently and started feeling guilty about it because I had spent a lot of my life in it, and because I love music. It just Yeah, I just stopped playing. And sophomore year, I had been listening to electronic music a lot. Started making my own like little mashups in Tractor, just like a little DJ software. Um, and then that coupled with my roommate sophomore year. Did you know Champ Davis?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
Champ.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So he made like little hip hop beats on a software called Logic.
yeah.
I think it was Logic Pro 10 was the one he used. And he made it with like a little MIDI keyboard. And I was like, oh, like piano. I like electronic music. Like, let me fiddle around with that. But I didn't really seriously start making music until maybe like a year ago. Like I've kind of that like, oh fuck, this is what I want to do. Like this is what makes me happy. Like I think of it as kind of like a different stage where I started like calling myself an artist to other people, because like up until maybe like a year and a half ago, I was just like someone who was really good at math that liked to make me like, I didn't feel like an artist. Now I kind
Mm.
of feel like one more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got into it loosely through Champ and that, and then basically I just like stuck with it. I think I just consistently met like cool people that had that similar interest, and it was like, I know the whole like correlation causation argument, but it just seemed to be like a bit of a trend. So I took an audio class. I met this guy Greg Hawkinson, who's like the head of the electronic music club at BC ESM. I joined that, met like more cool people, and then towards the start of senior year was when math sort of like stopped coming naturally to me, and I wasn't really down to put in the effort to like, like I liked being good at math, and while I understood it, I did enjoy doing it. I didn't like it enough to like bust my ass and ruin my weekends to keep up with like the super genius kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I applied to Berkeley's master in music production. They let me in. I think I went a little too early. Like I think if I had gone now, I might have made a lot more out of it, because I was pretty unhappy there. I just like skipped a bunch of classes. I did all the work just because I can keep up with schoolwork that I'm not interested in. I didn't really like excel there per se. But I'm grateful I went. I met my manager Harry, who has been kind of like the side of the music world where you get paid is like not a side that anyone has a ton of insight into as an artist. So, and it's kind of hard to learn about all of like the different like side stream of incomes and how to set all that up. And Harry's kind of just like taken that on, and he's yeah,
Yeah.
I'm grateful. Like he's the best. And yeah, then I got back from Berkeley. I worked in software sales for 7 months. It was terrible. Not like, not that, people that are good at sales, that's dope. You can make a killing with it. And I see the appeal of it. I'm too awkward to cold call people though. So it stressed me out. And I just had like a breakdown. It's like, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I worked for freelance for like an audio company, then worked at another company as kind of like an audio visual like support, tech support type thing for like conference rooms. That was at Wellington, which is like a finance firm in Boston. Then I was at Northeastern, and I recently got laid off and am applying to, I think I'm just gonna teach kids music production to make money on the side, and then probably tutor some math, and probably work in the cannabis industry once I get out to Colorado. So job hunting right now,
Yeah.
trying to keep my expenses in check,
Yeah.
grinding on music.
Yeah. Talk to me about opening up for Marshmello.
Yeah, that was sick. That was sick and not sick. So I don't think it's all it's cracked out to be. Like people think it's like the dopest shit in the world. And to be honest, I just like I made half-hour SoundCloud mixes. They kind of popped off on SoundCloud a little bit. Marshmello was coming to BC. There was one electronic music club, probably like 4 or 5 kids that could just like the competition pool. I didn't have to beat out a real artist to play. So that being said, it was the first time where like people kind of like saw me as an artist, like, even though I didn't feel like one, people like the energy. That was like the probably the most exciting night of my life. And yeah, I was stone cold sober. I remember being like, do I want to get fucked up so my nerves cool? And I was like, no, like if I mess up in front of Marshmello, I'll never forgive myself. Like he was like 45 minutes late. Anyways, Logan thought his helmet was like a bomb or some shit. And I had to play like twice as long. So it didn't matter in the end, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me realize that like, oh, I am a pretty awkward in person, but maybe I could still play on a stage somehow. I'm thinking about that a lot somehow now, like a
Yeah.
show. But
Yeah.
also, yeah, real talk. If I get sidetracked a little bit, reel
No,
me,
you're
reel me in,
good.
dude.
You're good.
Okay, all right.
Um, as you look, you're still obviously young in your journey, but for someone that might be interested in getting into music production and things like that, what are some things that if you could give yourself advice 2 years ago that you would be like, do this so you could fast track your process?
Okay, so I mean, like, I'll give like advice to people looking to potentially get into music production. Let me just write it down so I don't forget. That being said, I got like a lot of this advice when I was getting into music production and just like didn't listen to it. So I think it's kind of like if you're like me, or you kind of have to make these discoveries on yourself and maybe waste a little bit of your life to do so, this won't be super helpful. But YouTube, like you can learn everything on YouTube. I'm working with my coach Jason, and mentor slash co-collaborator. I don't really know how to refer to him, but he's like part of the Zola project. He started out as kind of like sort of like piano lessons after school, but with music production. And now it's kind of turned into, I think he's started to see a little potential in me. And now, like I pay him a little less, but he has like a percentage of my project, and like you find how to make things work.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, YouTube is great. Finding a mentor, like real talk, even if it's just like a friend that's been doing it for longer, is really helpful. Just because it's hard. You ever try to study for a class where you don't know what you don't know? I skipped a lot of classes at BC. And like I remember sitting down for like a midterm or a final and being like, fuck, like I don't even know like if this is the right text, but like
yeah,
like I have to like dictionary what the titles of the chapters are, that kind
yeah,
of shit. So that's kind of how it was for me. But if you can take it on yourself, and now I've gotten pretty serious about this, so now I learn by myself a lot. but yeah, YouTube is crazy helpful. Even just Google searching like sample selection is pretty big in shaping sounds. A couple people make their own drum sounds. I'm I'm working towards it right now. You can get samples. Just Google like free samples. Make sure they're royalty free if you're taking free ones, because you shouldn't be putting music out with uncleared samples. But YouTube, yeah,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
push
yeah.
yourself so much. And then don't compare yourself to like the big people. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. People say it a lot, but everyone does have their own path. Like Calvin Harris's crazy story to success is like so unique that if he had been, and that's just like a placeholder. Every artist has their own, and there are some kind of like archetype
Yeah,
type
yeah, yeah.
things. But like we're all unique people. We all find our way. I'd say just when I was first getting into music production, I read a story about how like oh, what's his name? Fuck, he's like my favorite producer, and I'm not my favorite producer. He's my favorite social media presence. Dylan Francis. Fuck,
Yeah.
Jesus. He like dropped out of school and like worked on music like 12 hours a day for days on end straight. And I read that story, and then I think like Diplo discovered him or something. And that would just like bummed me out. I was like, fuck, like I can't even sleep for 12 hours straight. Like, how am I supposed to do anything for 12 hours straight? But there are just so many factors, like we might learn at different rates, like we might go through different spurts of creativity. There's like a pretty wide spectrum of like different skill sets that go into being a good music producer, I would say.
Yeah. Can you talk about what I mean? Because a lot of people do a lot of things in school, on the side, as just as a hobby and as a passion. But then once they graduate, they kind of do what's practical.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
what? How did you get over that fear, and what
Fuck
made
that. I just
you?
got pissed off, dude. Too
Okay.
many, like, bro, I have issues with bosses. I don't know what it is. They just like like a very smart person, and like I'll do what's asked of me. I'll do what's in the job description. I won't do more than that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah,
if I sign a contract and this is what you're asking of me, like no, yes, I can make 130 more dials. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Like I'm trying to save my mental energy for my music, and it just frustrates me because when I was hunting for or like doing the job search, I ended up getting a job through a recruiter who was like, "Let's go through a test interview," and he started asking me about music stuff, and I was like, "Yeah," like I started talking about how it's my dream, and he was like, "Yeah, you got to stop saying it's your dream," and I was like, "Well, it is," and he was like, "No, but in an interview, if you tell a company that you want to be a DJ, they think that you're going to leave their company if you start to take off as a DJ," and I was like, "Well, I am," and he was like, "You can't do that," and so it just kind of like I don't want to waste their time.
yeah,
It feels like they're wasting my time. The whole like business 9 to 5 world.
yeah,
And there's something about like middle management. I've met a couple of chill managers. In general, a lot of them seem to really like looming over your shoulder, and I'm
yeah,
not really
yeah,
down for that. So,
yeah. Talk about I get and I looked at your 2019 Spotify stats were pretty impressive.
oh, thanks, bro. What
75,
were they?
75 countries,
Hell yeah,
7.5K streams,
word.
342 hours, 3.1K listeners. Talk to
Thank
us
you.
about how you got to, what were you doing in 18 and 19 to get yourself to that point?
Right. Okay. 18 to 19. So I made no words like a year. I probably I mean I came up with the idea like of August 2019, and that's the probably a song. It's sort of like hit the algorithms, and not super hard because you can hit the algorithms very hard. But like lightly touch the algorithms, and got on some playlists because it got signed to a label called Future Bass XO, which a lot of so like Future Bass XO was sort of, I think I'm saying this right, like a YouTube channel slash channel on SoundCloud. And then as streaming services and Spotify came like more and more to the forefront, they've turned into like label services. So No Words is, I'm pretty sure this is right. You might have to reach out to the label themselves, but it's non-copyrighted. So I think you can just use it in whatever. Um, and then with the singer because she writes like the vocal melody, the lyrics, and it's kind of like her message too, almost. My
Yeah, yeah,
message is really just the instrumental. Like, if you listen to the lyrics of my song, like, they're, as of right now, written by the artist that I'm
yeah.
working with. Someday I'm gonna write my own lyrics, but I gotta learn more production stuff first.
How is that collaboration project? I know you've done stuff with Kristen Morel and The Bright Side.
Yeah, it's sick. It's definitely, it can be a little difficult sometimes, just because everyone, music's subjective. Like, there's no right answer. So, like, if in my head I'm hearing, like, so I like mixing EDM in different genres, right? Like, if I'm hearing this song leaning more towards the EDM genre, and the other artist is maybe hearing it leaning more towards the other genre, there might be some kind of like miscommunications and stuff. But when I work with artists, or when I'm deciding to work with artists, I usually have like a beat made already and a type of voice I'm looking for. And if those two like don't click immediately, I don't reach out. Like, I try, just because I don't want to, like, I don't want to pull a project. I did this once. I pulled a project out from someone that, like, I was initially feeling, and then, like, wasn't feeling anymore. And, like, I feel guilty that, like, I don't want to waste anyone's time. So I try to be really picky about that now. So yeah,
What
but
was it?
it's really fun. You come out with stuff you never would have come out with. Like that, one of the songs I'm working on right now. Probably gonna be my best song I've ever made. I'm very excited about it. Way better than No Words. No Words is dope. Thanks again for listening. Anyone that listens to this. But yeah, I'll show you that song at some point.
Yeah.
But it's I really love working with other people, and you learn so much.
How do you get into the producing mindset? Do you just, you know, like you have to be in a certain mood, or like is
Woo. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get into flow. That's kind of like the goal is to hit, because a lot of the times I just sit and you can watch a stream of like producers on Twitch. It's like you kind of just like play around, or that's how I do. I just play around on my computer until like something catches my ear. Um or something like sounds interesting. Sometimes I just make weird ass sounds for like an hour and then think about how it might fit into a song. Um but yeah, it's almost like the less, for me at least, the less rules I set or try to make for myself when I'm sitting down to be creative, the better. If I can just really like trust my intuition. That being said, as songs flesh out, there are kind of like, there's this creative process and then this kind of like technical process where you're kind of thinking about, it's called mixing, where you're thinking about, okay, like, where do I want the voice in the sound, like in the stereo space? Do I want the vocal like back with the instrumental? Do I want it like very intimate and upfront? So there, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. There's so many aspects, and honestly, it's a lot to learn. I have so much to learn still, like tons and tons and tons. But it's like the first thing that I've like learned quickly, and I also want to keep learning. Like, the stuff that I'm learning isn't boring because I'm excited about what it means for the final result. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
You
usually my like sitting down to produce, I just like wake up at 5 or 6 and I try to sit down for a couple hours. And then I do intermittent fasting. So I try to like stretch, and I eat around like 10 or 11, my first meal. And then I try to learn something related to production, try to do something athletic. I keep saying try to because I've been in a slump the past week or two,
okay? All right.
because I go through those occasionally.
Yeah, we all do.
True. Um, and then, like, yeah, before bed I'll sit down again, and it's more kind of, I'll try to write down in a journal like the day before, and I have a little whiteboard that I bought. It's like the most excited I've ever been about a whiteboard, that I write down little reminders, like watch YouTube tutorials, like focus on drums, try resampling and changing warp modes, just little things to be like, oh, I didn't try that today, let me try that and see if anything new comes out.
The songs and the collaborations you've done, how long has that process like take to from start
um
to finish?
so like in terms of like the dates, like the day I start and the day the song is finished.
Yeah, like yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's like two different aspects to it. So, um, like the exact dates, they're probably like a couple months apart, like
Mm.
before the song's ready to be sent, like pitched to labels or sent for distribution. But the time spent on the songs is different. I'd say like I get most of my creative process done somewhere in like 4 to 8 hours. And then honestly, mixing can take and like processing vocals and everything. And then it's kind of like back and forth with the vocalist.
Yeah.
Like is the recording good enough quality? Do we like the lyrics? Do we like the melodies? All that stuff. So that's a lot of a back and forth, but probably yeah, I can't put that in hours. The
Yeah,
creative
yeah. No,
process
no.
takes me
I'm
four
just
to eight
curious.
hours.
Yeah, yeah. I guess like for you, how you have three songs signed to labels. Um, how was that process? Or one hasn't been released, I think, right?
All right, yeah.
Yeah,
No. I forget the number, but yes, I think three is correct. No,
and
four.
four.
Yeah, but yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
How was that
Both
process? Did
labels.
they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them, or what was
Oh
that
yeah,
like?
so that process is all streamlined. It's mostly just like you reaching out to them. There's a website called Submit Hub, which I don't really use anymore. Yeah, I'm sort of so if you want to mass send your stuff out, you can use Label Radar or Submit Hub. The websites are pretty self-explanatory. If you are releasing it, and that you can use for also like pitching to playlists if you self-release, because playlisting is pretty big in terms of like getting placements. That being said, I don't know. I'm recently I've been going like the personal email connection. Like I reached out to one guy who like pretty much told me to fuck off like 2 years ago. Not that aggressively, but he was sort
Yeah.
of just like, yeah, we're gonna pass on this now.
Okay.
And I was like, fair. I mean, like it's fair. The shit
Yeah.
was terrible 2 years ago. But I reached out to him again, or I had my manager reach out to him again like 2, 3 months ago and send him like recent stuff. And he like wrote like a page and a half back, was like, this is where I'm at now. We're looking for instrumentals for like these artists. And some like decently named people. I think he was talking ghost production, which is something I'm not really down for. Um, but still, just like comparing the email responses back to back
Yeah.
is nice and gives you little fire.
Yeah. I as you look to forward in your vision for your career, what do you think you'll stick to EDM, and or you see yourself going in other directions? What's your feeling right now?
So I have no clue. I
Mm.
think I will always be open to making EDM. I am starting to branch out in different directions. I listened to like a lot of punk growing up, so I sort of have like a soft spot for punk music. I've always loved rap, so right now I'm sort of it's weird because when I sit down to make like a pop EDM song, it does feel very formulaic. Right now, I'm almost like trying to establish like a bit of a sound palette, kind of like figure out which ideas and techniques from punk, which ideas, techniques from rap, which ones from hip hop, EDM, etc. Um, fit and how I can sort of like make these different genres. But it is like I've never been more excited about the stuff I'm working on. It's coming out a lot slower and it's not as easy to just like crank a track out for sure.
Gotcha.
But it's, I like it a lot more than the stuff I've made in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked about that.
One
I
of
can actually, if you want, I can show you a
yeah.
track if that's something that's interesting
Feel
that I'm
free to.
talking about. This is a collab with this dude I'm working with. His name's Save Someone, or his artist name is Save Someone. He's a student at Berkeley. He's super
Yeah.
talented. Also working with my co-producer, mentor, coach, savior, Jason. So there's one part, it's still a work in progress. So I clipped out a bit of the intro verse or the beginning of the verse. But I'll play you, I don't know. You want to say like 40 seconds, 30
Sure.
seconds, some
Yeah.
shit like
Thank
that?
you.
Yeah, of course. And then this is sort of what I'm talking about, like mixing different sounds. last year. I knew that shit would end up just like that. Please don't go too far, don't make this like last year. I knew that shit would end up just like that. Yeah, I don't want to play. I don't want to blow too much of it, just
Yeah,
because
no, that
it's
was
gonna
awesome.
be a
That's
very sick song when it's
yeah,
done.
it's gonna be awesome.
But yeah.
That's dope.
So yeah, that's kind of
Thank
like
you.
some of the new stuff that I'm working on. I'm really excited about. I just don't know when it's gonna be finished, but
No,
it'll
that
be
was
out at some point.
terrific. Yeah, man, that's a good collaboration right there.
Yeah, he's super talented. He crushed it, man.
Yeah. Um, anything else that I mean that you want to talk about with your music life? I mean, I and I'm gonna go into some of the you know the personal questions we were gonna talk about, like the weight loss
Yeah,
and the
for
mental
sure.
health. But anything else
Um,
on the music side that we didn't cover?
uh, oh, not really.
Yeah,
I'm stoked about what I'm working on. I'm really excited to share it for when once it's finished.
yeah. So I saw that you lost 60 pounds in a year.
Yeah, I'm up
You want to
to
talk about that?
70 now. Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
sure. Thanks. I'm done. I'm stopping losing weight now because I don't need to
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, I've just never really been proud of how I looked, to be honest. I've always been like someone that's super harsh on myself. I think I've sort of felt the need to like prove myself to everyone and like in any facility. So like I don't know, just for an example with like math, I always felt the need to like prove that I was really smart at math, like as if like I didn't speak for itself, or as if like I came across as someone stupid, or not stupid, but I don't know. I was just insecure, self conscious, and like same with weight. I was super insecure about how I weighed, and then I don't know, it just sort of made sense to start losing weight. Like I was spending too much money on food. I want to chase this music thing. I'm putting, any little amount of money I'm making back into music outside of, rent and the minimal amount of money I spend for food. And then also on top of all that, like meal prepping and stuff saves me a lot of time. I cook maybe 3 hours a week for like the whole week. So yeah, it just made sense. I started eating healthier. And the way I think about it is the way I kind of like push myself is like, if I can't do this mental feat, how will I ever be able to make it as like a music producer? Like yeah, it's been so much easier to just not eat total garbage for lunch and dinner than it has been to like chase the music. Like chasing music, bro, it's fucking hard.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it just saves me money. I feel better about myself. Puts me in a happier place. And
Any pieces of advice to people out there on what worked for you?
yeah, intermittent fasting really pretty much was it. Just that being said, I am someone that can kind of like I eat the same thing for every meal pretty much. I eat like rice, chicken, veggies, and then like some multivitamins. So yeah, if you can suck up that part, and like I still eat out, once in a while, but yeah, I don't eat. I eat my dinner at 5:30 p.m. and then I don't eat another meal until around 11 a.m. ish. Is what I try to do.
Yeah,
And yeah, I just start losing weight super fast doing that.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. You've also been pretty open about, having bad social anxiety and ADD. I think that's really brave on your part to come out,
Oh, thanks, dude. Honestly,
uh,
it's lazy. Like I'm just lazy not talking. Like so it's like I have actually that's not right at all. It's social anxiety. That's the reason for it. I've learned that content is super important to this whole thing. And posting on Instagram gives me fucking like anxiety attacks, bro. Like when I popped off on Instagram, whenever that was, the three like typed up things, I literally like felt like my heart was like beating like up by like my Adam's apple. Like I felt like I was like squeezing words out like over my heartbeat.
yeah,
It was stressful as fuck. But um yeah, I've been meeting with this guy once in a while, once a month. His name's Joey Suki, and he's like very much about like the mental aspect of being an artist and everything. And he suggested just like saying like fuck it, and just like posting who you are. And at the end of the day, like the people that don't fuck with me, like it's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't expect everyone to like me. I've spent so much of my life, I think, just like striving to be liked by everyone, and it's just like not sustainable.
If they
Like
don't like you for
some
coming
people
out
are
with
gonna
having
think I'm dumb.
anxiety,
Like, yeah,
that's a little messed up.
yeah, and maybe they won't. Maybe there is
Yeah,
no one that has issue with that.
yeah.
It's just, if I'm gonna do social media, like I'm just gonna not stress about it.
Yeah.
I smoke a
Just be you.
lot. I got some social anxiety. I'm emotional. I
Yeah.
make dope music. It's all part of it. Like, fuck it,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome that you're in that place.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
you want to talk about like, how did you recognize it, or like, or how and how have you, for people that have it, how, maybe just how have you dealt with it, and what have been some ways that you've um lived with it and things like that?
Yeah, honestly, I grew up not really. I grew up very angry for no reason at all. I had a very loving family and really amazing friends. I was just like pissed off a lot. So I never really learned to like talk about my feelings per se. But yeah, with like the social anxiety stuff, it's just kind of like, it's a similar story to, actually, I'm lactose intolerant. In high school, I would have Frosted Flakes, and like, yeah, early high school, and milk for breakfast every morning, and then I'd just be like mad gassy in class.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know that lactose intolerance was a thing. I just thought that I was allergic to breakfast or something, so I stopped
Yeah.
eating breakfast. So with social anxiety, I was like, I started thinking more and more about it. Like, does everyone stress out this much when they get their food in the dining hall about like not knowing where their friends are to sit? Like, do people like start sweating and like start freaking out? Probably not. Like, all like my friends from BC like knew, like if they were getting lunch with me, be like, okay, yeah, we're at table 3, 27 across from the table that's next to the TV playing the football game. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
specific. And it was, so I haven't been like, I don't know if you can be like officially diagnosed with it. I've been officially diagnosed with ADD, or like, but I haven't like seen anyone about social anxiety. It seems like I have it. Like, I had panic attacks, cold calling, like it freaked me out. I had breakdowns doing that. I don't really know how to talk to people outside of like an intimate setting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think I do, but I'm open to the fact that I don't, and I'm just like an emotional dude.
No, that's great that I think it helps, it helps with destigmatizing it. Seeing
Yeah,
someone that people look up to come out and say that they have it, it allows you to feel like, all right, it's okay that I have anxiety, it's
yeah.
nice.
And on a similar note, that like drives me a lot. Not that exact circumstance, but a couple of like my boys that I grew up with in Cambridge have like two or three of them on like separate occasions have been like, man, like seeing you chase like your dream really makes me want to chase my dream. And I was like, that's like the most flattering thing anyone's ever said to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Dan, we talked about a good amount. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about we didn't hit on?
Um, no, not really. I didn't have
Yeah.
anything. I'm along for the ride. You know, excited to
Yeah.
just talk about whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, I just want to thank you for being on. It's really, it's really cool to see you go after your dreams.
Thank you,
It's
man.
tough
Yeah, I'm
as you,
excited. Yeah, it's a little
yeah,
stressful sometimes.
but but
But
but
yo, you
you're,
too, dude. I mean, I haven't watched your show yet, but I've seen it kind of like navigate the social media sphere.
yeah, thank you.
I've seen like, you had Obi on here,
Yeah.
seen you talking to some people. I'll listen after too.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if I'll listen to this one because
yeah.
I'm awkward, but I
Yeah.
will listen.
No, you're good. No, so thank you so much for being on, and so for people that want to follow you on either social media or look you up on Spotify, you want to let them know how to do that?
Yeah. On Spotify, well, actually, Instagram's probably easiest because I don't know what page Zola I am on the Spotify search right now.
Okay.
it could be page 30, who knows. Yeah, my Instagram is Zola Music Official. ZOLA MUSICOFFICIAL. And yeah, I hope you enjoy what you hear. If you don't, no worries. No biggie. And also again, thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah.
This
No.
was fun. It was cool talking. I haven't done something like this before.
Yeah. Thank you for being on, and best of luck with the journey. Well, hopefully everyone that listens is able to support you.
Oh yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you.